Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. Today is the beginning of the Education USA Brazil Virtual Roadshow of 2022. Today is the first session, and we will be talking about scholarships and how to find the best financial option for you. To the representatives, thank you so much for being here. It is an honor to have you all taking a little bit of time out of your very busy schedules to talk to us. So we are very thankful. And just in Portuguese for a second. Boa tarde, pessoal, tudo bem? Muito obrigada por estarem todos aqui. Meu nome é Marina Martins, eu sou orientadora educacional da Education USA Brasil na PUC Rio. Hoje nós vamos falar sobre bolsas de estudo e como encontrar a melhor opção financeira para você. Esse evento é organizado pelo Education USA Brasil, que é um braço do Departamento de Estado do governo americano, que tem como objetivo providenciar informações abrangentes e atualizadas sobre oportunidades de estudo nos Estados Unidos. E é isso que nós queremos apresentar para vocês hoje. São oportunidades de estudo e a oportunidade de conversar com os representantes destas instituições. Então, muito obrigada por estarem aqui e espero que vocês aproveitem o evento. Mandem as suas perguntas aqui no Q&A ao longo e ao final do evento vocês vão receber um link para conversar diretamente com os representantes. Tudo bem? Então, aproveitem o evento. Muito obrigada. Tamara, the floor is yours.
Hey, if we could put up the first screen. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tamara Chermatera. I am the Assistant Director of Admissions at SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design. Today, I am joined by my colleagues from Colorado State University, Central Michigan University, University of Kentucky, Augustana University, State University of New York, Oswego, and University of Central Florida. We will talk to you about scholarships, financial aid, and how to find the best financial options for you. So let's talk about it. During your time with us today, we're going to touch on topics such as what is financial aid? What are the different types and sources of aid? What does the application process look like? We will also touch on important forms, the options to work on campus, and what does the cost of living actually look like to help you find the best options for you. I will now pass it over to my colleague, Nathan from Colorado State University, who will help you answer the question of what is financial aid?
All right, thanks everyone, and thanks to EdUSA Brazil for having us. We appreciate the opportunity. So very simply, I mean, I think defining financial aid is kind of where we're going to start here. The question that we get and my colleagues get at other universities all the time is, well, do you have financial aid? Well, the answer is yes, we all do, but financial aid can take multiple forms. And so understanding the form or the type of financial aid that is most applicable to you is going to be very beneficial as you start your university search process. So very simply, financial aid is money supplied by a source outside of your family to help pay for your college or your university. And those come in really three main forms: scholarships, grants, and loans. So I think maybe we'll take those in reverse, and we'll start with loans first. We get a lot of questions. Well, hey, I'm just going to go to a bank in the US and I'm going to get a loan to pay for my university studies. And you can do that kind of, but it's going to be very, very difficult to use. So loans are, I don't want to take that option away from you completely, but I don't know a lot of international students that I've worked with, and I've been in the industry 8 years, that have done loans to pay for their university schooling. So it's not going to be an option for a lot of international students. On the other hand, grants and scholarships are. Scholarships are likely going to be the #1 type of financial aid that you can get to help pay for your schooling. As we'll talk about throughout the rest of this presentation, there are different types of scholarships. There are different ways to get them. Universities have different processes. You don't have to pay the scholarships back, much like grants. Grants are another source of income that you can receive that you don't have to pay back once your schooling is over. But really understanding, when you ask, hey, do you have financial aid? The answer is 99% of the time going to be yes, but what type of financial aid is provided that is going to be realistically obtainable for you in order to fund your studies. And then kind of continuing on with that, understanding what goes into the cost of you attending a university. Again, a question that me and my colleagues likely get a lot is, well, what's the cost of tuition? Great question. That's a really good question, and you need to know that. But the total cost of your attendance is going to be more than just tuition. And in order for us to grant you the necessary immigration documents for you to hopefully go and obtain your visa, you're going to need to show proof of funding that goes beyond just the cost of tuition. And so I've given an example from an institution here that kind of breaks down, a document that you might have to fill out at some point that breaks down what all goes into attending a university. So you can see on the top left there's the tuition and fees, there's books and supplies, there's insurance, there's room and board, there's miscellaneous expenses. So maybe as you're looking at this, there's these costs popping up that you didn't think about before. So this is something to keep in mind, just above and beyond the original cost that a lot of students think of as just, well, what's tuition and fees? There's more that goes into it than that. And then one other thing that I wanted to mention here, which a lot of students, both international and domestic, both don't know about, is this term. It's called differential tuition. And I don't want to sit here and say that every university in the United States does this, but a lot of them do. It means that some programs at a university will cost more than other programs. So I use this example that you see on the screen. If you look at the bottom, it says the College of Engineering, the College of Business, the College of Information Science and Technology. There are additional costs associated with the programs in those particular colleges. So when you talk to people like us, don't be afraid to ask these types of questions. What is the total cost to attend? I want to study engineering, or I want to study business. Is that going to cost something different? This is what we do. Our job is to walk you through this process, because the US is so big and we have so many institutions here that we want to give you a full understanding. So I kind of wanted to paint this picture before we get into the more specific details surrounding scholarships in the upcoming slide. So moving on, I'll pass it on to my colleague. I think Helena has the next slide.
Thank you, Nate. Hello, everyone. My name is Helena, and then I'm the International Recruitment and Partnership Specialist at the State University of New York at Oswego. So in this slide, I will briefly explain these 5 different terms. And then I believe Tisa from Central Michigan University will talk more about these details. So first one, need-based. So need-based scholarships are given to students based on their financial need, of course. So if students come from like low-income families, they may qualify for need-based scholarship, but however, it doesn't mean that family income is the only thing that matters in order to be eligible for this scholarship. So in fact, some universities may require students to prove both financial need and their academic achievements. The second one, merit-based. I believe merit-based scholarships are one that international students are most familiar with. So students receive this type of scholarship based on their academic success, special skills, or talents. So if you have a really outstanding SAT score, or you are, for example, you are the best piano player in your city, then you might be eligible for a merit-based scholarship. So need blind and need aware are 2 different financial aid admissions policies. So as the name indicates, need blind admissions policies means that applicants' financial status will not affect the admission decision. However, need-aware admissions policies means a student's financial need will be examined at the time of admission, and then maybe affect the admissions decision. And the last one, the last term of unmet need is the amount that students need to pay after financial aid. So the amount would be the cost of attendance minus like financial aid such as grants or scholarships. So this is the amount that students must cover out of their pocket. Next slide, please.
All right, thanks, Helena. Hi, everyone. My name is Andrea Davis, and I'm the International Recruitment Liaison for UCF Global at the University of Central Florida. So to dive in a little more about types and sources of aid, it's helpful to think in terms of institutional and private sources. Institutional aid is coming from the institution or the university itself. So departmental scholarships are typically referring to your academic department, for example, biology. Within that department, there may be scholarships from either an alumni of that department or students in a particular track or specialty, research focus, or just by merit. Each scholarship will have its own requirements and application process to follow. We do recommend you check out scholarships both at the department level and the college, for example, within the biology department and the College of Sciences. Many universities will have a special portal to submit applications for institutional scholarships. I know for UCF, you would need to apply for those scholarships after you've been admitted. And I would also like to point out there are some sources that are statewide, not just within your institution. For example, the state of Florida does have a number of linkage institutes by country of origin, including a Florida Brazil Linkage Institute that supports students pursuing an associate's degree or a graduate degree. Similarly, UCF and a number of other institutions also have a Latin American and Caribbean scholarship. These types of opportunities can often change your tuition rate from the international student rate or the out-of-state rate to an in-state tuition rate, which can be significant savings. And I know TISA will share a little bit more about merit-based and need-based, so let's look over at private sources. Since there aren't as many public funding opportunities for international students, private sources can be very important. Of course, the initial source for funding for students is typically from you, the student or family funds. You will need to provide bank statements to request a student visa in the United States that shows that you can afford those overall costs that Nate was speaking about earlier to attend a university and live in that city. But that said, keep in mind there are a number of organizations that can offer additional aid sources like community organizations, civic groups, religious organizations, businesses. And many students think that aid can only come from the United States, but actually there may be large companies or government organizations in your home country that are looking to fund students who they can then recruit back to their company or their organization, bring new skills, new knowledge. So to search for these, you can either go directly to companies of interest, or oftentimes you can find databases of scholarships where you can search for unique criteria. For example, for students who are studying computer science in the state of Washington or studying computer science and they're from Brazil, or women in STEM, there are a number of different combinations you can search for that would meet your needs. So it is important that you look at databases that are recognized by universities, say on a university webpage, because there are some organizations out there you want to check and make sure that they are valid. So know that these different sources of aid may take some time to research and to find the ones that are the best fit for you. But oftentimes you can start to stack some of the smaller, especially private scholarships, so that you can start to add them together as well. So with that, I will hand it off to Tisa.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Again, my name is Tisa. I'm with Central Michigan University. It's a pleasure to be here today. So I'm going to talk about two different types of scholarship. The first one being merit-based scholarship. And so this means that the institution or the school is going to issue you some sort of scholarship based on merit. And so that might be academic merit. So your grades, they're going to look at maybe your scores in your school, maybe your test scores, like maybe ACT or SAT or your English proficiency test scores. Maybe it's some sort of athletic merit. Maybe you play a sport and you're being recruited to a school to play that sport. And so you might get scholarship from the athletic department. You might have some sort of artistic ability. Maybe you're really good at drawing or playing an instrument or singing. And so there might be some sort of scholarship based on your skill level or some other special characteristics. And one thing to just keep in mind and to remind you that every school is different. And so while we're all providing you information about just, general information that's good to know, you really want to connect with each school that you are interested in going to and figuring out what's available specifically at that school so that you're not confusing criteria and different kinds of aid from one school to the other, because we are all very different. And sometimes it's confusing, but usually there's folks like myself or anybody on the call today that is really willing and available to help you figure that out for their specific school. With merit-based, usually family resources are not a factor. So if a student says, hey, I've got these great grades and my family is in a lot of need, usually that doesn't play a factor. Usually we're looking just at your merit for these types of scholarships. For some schools, and like I said, every school is different, some schools will evaluate all of your merit-based scholarships at the time of admission. Sometimes it's after admission. Sometimes you need to apply separately for scholarships. And so like I mentioned, really figuring out what you need to do at each school is very important to make sure that you get the most and the best scholarship that's available for merit scholarships. Next slide, please. And then there's need-based scholarships. So like I was mentioning earlier, when financial need and ability for a student's family isn't considered usually with merit-based scholarship, sometimes there's need-based scholarship as well. I will say that for our school, and I think a lot of schools on the call today, need-based scholarship is not very popular. It's somewhat rare that a school will offer a need-based scholarship. And so you can certainly ask every school, do you have need-based scholarships or need-based financial aid? And they can let you know if they do or not. A lot of the times it depends on the university, and a lot more private universities offer need-based scholarship than public universities. And so what you would do is, depending on the school, they may ask for you to provide a letter or maybe documentation showing that you do have need, or something showing the financial situation of your family. And so you want to make sure that you know what you need to submit in order to be considered for need-based aid. And then you've got your sticker price and your discounted price. And so when you look at, and so as we're going through and talking about our cost of attendance or what you need to pay, there's that initial price. And so that is the price that most students will pay. And then there might be a discounted price. So if you've got scholarship or need-based aid or something like that, then there's a discounted price. And so when you first see that first number, know that that is the normal cost of attendance, but we could discount it depending on the type of scholarship and the amount of scholarship that you would receive from our school. Thank you.
Hi there, my name is Wade. I represent Augustana University. Thank you so much to the Education USA team for putting this on and allowing us to speak on such an important topic. All of this information can be really overwhelming, and I know all of us international admission counselors seem very intimidating and scary. We're actually not. We love talking to students. We love helping you through this process. So despite probably, your head spinning just a little bit with all of this information, know that we are here to help. And there are ways to earn additional funds in addition to scholarships and financial aid to help you and your family cover those costs. And again, all of the universities represented here and universities in the United States that welcome international students have dedicated staff and offices that are there to help you access all of these resources that are available to you. So I have the opportunity to talk about working. So even though international students in the US are on a student visa, it is possible to work and earn money as you are studying. Of course, there are a number of rules and regulations tied to that, and we'll kind of briefly discuss those here with you today. So students, international students in the United States, students who are on F1 visas are eligible to work on campus during their first year. Their first academic year, you are limited to on-campus employment, and while school is in session, up to 20 hours per week. So that is considered part-time. During breaks, during school breaks, for example, the summer months, you can work full-time. So up to 20 hours during school, when school is in session. It's a great way to gain valuable work experience in the United States that can, allow you to just get that first job in the US that kind of allows you to learn more about working in the US in general, which we certainly hope is a springboard into a job that's maybe related to your major in the future. So, of course, every job is different. Oftentimes they are paid hourly. So it depends on how many hours you work, what the hourly wage is, a number of factors, but it is possible to earn when you are studying in the United States. Although it gives you the great opportunity to gain work experience and earn money, that income you should not count on that income to pay your remaining costs. Working on campus typically is meant to give you some spending dollars to go out with your friends or things like that. Oftentimes it's not possible to earn thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars working in an on-campus job. So just keep that in mind as you are chatting with your families about the budget process. Unfortunately, international students are not eligible to work in every single job on campus. There is something called the Federal Work-Study Program, which international students in the United States are not eligible for those jobs. However, there are a number of jobs that are available on all college campuses. I'm speaking my campus. It could be working in the coffee shop. It could be working in the recreational center, being a referee for intramural athletics. It could be any number of things. Giving campus tours to prospective students and their families. There are a wide range of on-campus opportunities for students. And I always tell students, applying for jobs is not fun. I'm not going to lie to you, it is not fun. However, and it takes time too. Some students get really lucky and they get maybe the second job that they apply to. Other students, maybe it takes them 10 or 12 or 15 applications before they're hired. So either, wherever you're at in that spectrum, just know that patience is a good thing. And if you keep at it, you will secure on-campus employment in some capacity. So keep that head up. It's not a fun process, but it is important and allows you the chance to earn some extra spending money. Great aspect of working on campus is that you can fit it into your class schedule. That's the whole point of, one of the many benefits of working on a college campus is that your supervisor will be very flexible because, of course, first and foremost, you are a student and they understand that and they want to make sure that your work schedule complements your class schedule. Another opportunity, you'll see on your screen is a resident assistant or resident advisor. Our mascot at Augustana is the Vikings, although I like to think we're friendly Vikings. So we call it a Viking advisor. You know, every school will call it something different, but it is essentially an upperclassman advisor in a residence hall. So upperclassman meaning either in your second year, third year, fourth year. So after that first year, you can apply to be a resident advisor, resident assistant in a residence hall. That's essentially a mentor, a guide to first year students and also peers that maybe are your same age in that residence hall. Oftentimes there are really nice benefits to getting those jobs, including like free housing, sometimes free room and board, which is, you know, depending on where you go to school, you know, that is a savings of thousands and thousands of dollars. So, so of course, because there are a lot of benefits to that, they are competitive. You have to, you know, oftentimes you apply, you interview, you go through a process, but it's a great leadership opportunity that looks really great when you are applying for jobs related to your major, and you know, also just getting to know people around campus. The fact that you can say, you know, I'm a resident assistant or resident advisor shows that you're an active member of the community, in addition to all of those financial benefits. Also going to talk about cost of living. We could probably do an entire hour-long presentation about cost of living in the United States. Similar to Brazil, you know, the US is really, really big, and there are a lot of different types of environments, and it should certainly be part of your discussions with your family as you are talking about your budget, talking about, you know, just costs tied to going to school in the United States. And this is kind of an intangible cost. You know, it's not, it's kind of harder to see compared to what Nate shared earlier with the list of different costs. You know, cost of living is a little bit more abstract. It doesn't always have, it's not always clear, but there are cost of living indexes that you can find online. And also, you know, again, we admission counselors, we want to help guide you through this process. So certainly don't be afraid to ask questions. But in the United States, there are rural environments, there are urban environments, there's everything in between, living on campus versus off campus. Some universities require that you live on campus for a certain number of years. Some universities don't require that. The cost of food varies greatly depending on where you live. Transportation, again, if you choose to live off campus to, you know, to maybe save some money, how long do you ride public transportation to get to school? And is there public transportation, or do you have to take a Lyft or a taxi? You know, there's a lot of factors that go into that. Going out to eat with your friends, all of that, you know, varies greatly depending on where you are in the United States. So it is something to think about and to just know that it's there, because and again, there are a lot of helpful resources online about cost of living standards. So I'm quick plug, I'm in the Midwest, known for our low cost of living. We love the Midwest. So, and last but not least, before I pass it on, there is also, so we talked about on-campus employment. Now I'm going to talk about after you graduate. It is still possible to work in the United States when you are on your student visa after you graduate. That is something called OPT, optional practical training. So that is a term you will hear often should you enroll at a US university. So international students on an F1 student visa, you can work while still on your F1 visa for even after you graduate, for anywhere from 1 to 3 years after you graduate. So students are all students, regardless of major, are eligible for that 1 year of OPT. Students in STEM majors are able to apply for an extension of an additional 2 years, so up to 3 years. And that is again, a process for down the road, and you will have dedicated advisors on your campus to help guide you through that process, because of course, your employment has to be approved. It has to, go through paperwork for that approval. So the job has to be directly related to your major. So that is, again, there are more stipulations and rules that are tied to that employment, but yes, it is possible to continue working after you graduate on your F1 student visa, as long as the job is related to your major. And again, this obviously is a phenomenal opportunity to gain experience in your field that can set you up for future opportunities. So that is everything I was going to cover. So without further ado, I will pass it on to Landon. Thank you.
Thanks, Wade. My name is Landon. I work in international recruitment at the University of Kentucky. And to finish up today, we want to leave you with some important points to remember. As Wade mentioned, we know that this is a lot of information, and we will be here to answer your questions via Q&A. Some of us, or hopefully most of us, will be here via Zoom after as well. But just to finish up, to recap some important points to remember. The first one, be realistic about how much you and your family can afford. When you're going through the search process of looking at universities, applying to universities, it's very important to analyze all the things that we've talked about today. The types of scholarships that are offered, can they all be combined? How are the scholarships renewable? How many of them are available at the given institution? And how do those scholarships look in regard to the total cost of tuition at the given university? Some other things that we talked about as far as the cost of living. Do you have to live on campus? If so, how much are the dorms? How much is room and board? Are you allowed to live off campus, right? These are important factors to think about when you're in the search process and applying to different types of US universities. And as Wade just mentioned, where you're living as well, that can play a huge factor into your total cost and the day-to-day, month-to-month life as a student. And then following up on that, write or call the institution for any information that's unclear. A lot of universities will have detailed information on their websites, but sometimes it's not always easy to find that information. It's not always clear. And that's what we're here for, right? We are here to help you, to guide you through the process. And I will also say, another great resource that is sometimes underutilized is speaking to current students. For example, at the University of Kentucky, we have multiple students from Brazil, and many of them serve as student ambassadors. Their contact information is on our website, right? A lot of universities have international student ambassadors, and these students are already ahead of you, right? They're already on campus, living the experience. They've already gone through the process. So of course we can help you, but sometimes the best resource you can get a realistic idea from is a current international student who's already living the experience. So please remember to utilize that resource as well. As we talked about at the beginning of the presentation, you need to be prepared to provide all the financial documentation upon being admitted to the university and obtaining your student visa, right? So it's important to talk to your family about this, get all of this organized beforehand, right? So you have it all ready, because there are important deadlines at different institutions. Different institutions have different deadlines that you need to accept scholarships by. So it's very important that you have all of these details clear. Going back to the first point, knowing how much realistically your family can afford, right? What's the total cost of tuition and potential living expenses at a given university, minus any scholarships that you can receive, right? And then whatever that remaining difference is, have that information ready, have the documentation ready, so you can quickly obtain your student visa after you have accepted scholarships and commit to a university, right? And then also be mindful when you're reading about certain scholarships that are available, when you're applying to these scholarships, if these scholarships are renewable over 4 years or your time at the university, right? Sometimes scholarships are only a one-time award. They're issued for that one academic year, and that's it, right? So you need to be careful when you're reading, are the scholarships renewable? Are they just one-time scholarships? And then with that being said, for the renewable scholarships, you need to also be mindful of the criteria that you need in order to renew the scholarship, in order to maintain the scholarship. For example, most merit-based aid, most merit-based scholarships is contingent upon maintaining a certain GPA, right? So these are important things to consider and think about, especially after you start at the university, right? What is that GPA? Making sure that you maintain that, because especially when you're using these scholarships to make the university tuition affordable, the last thing you want to do is accidentally lose one of these scholarships, right? So you want to think about these things, have it all very clear. And again, that is what we're here for. We are here to help you. We are here to guide you through the process. Most of us will be available after this as well. We're going to have a Q&A. But before we do that, we all want to share a little more with you about our institutions.
And I will kick us off. So we'll briefly go through our institutions before we get to the Q&A. So hello again, my name is Nathan Duggins with Colorado State University. We're located in a city called Fort Collins, Colorado. We are a public institution with just under 33,000 total students. We got around 300 different undergraduate programs, 100 plus graduate programs. Culturally, we sit right at the base of the Rocky Mountains. So outdoor recreation, sustainability is really important to us. So kind of from a cultural standpoint, I like to paint that picture as well. This is about scholarships, so I'll talk about ours. We do offer merit-based scholarships. We do not offer need-based. All admitted students are all automatically considered for scholarships. So there's no separate application outside of just the common application that you would use to apply. And if admitted, you would automatically be considered for one. And they range from $2,000 to $12,000 per year. One final thing that I'll throw out there is we are SAT and ACT optional. We do not require those exams to as part of the application process. So I think I'll leave it there and I will pass it on to the next institution.
I was on mute. It's like my first time using Zoom, evidently. Thanks, Nate. I represent Augustana University. We are located in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, a place you have probably never thought about in your entire life, and that's okay. It is, for a handful of years now, a top 5 city for young professionals based on our low cost of living and low unemployment rates. It's a phenomenal place to launch a career. We have major industries in healthcare and business and finance, which of course bring heavy IT jobs there as well. So a lot of CPT and OPT opportunities for students to get internships and jobs. In fact, 96% of recent Augustana graduates had some sort of hands-on experience during their undergraduate time at Augustana, such as a job, internship, undergraduate research. We are a small private university. We have only about 2,000 students, which means our class sizes are very small, direct access to professors. We do, again, we are a private university, which means our sticker price, I believe Tisa mentioned the sticker price versus what students actually pay. So our sticker price is very high and very scary, but like most private universities, we offer generous scholarships. Our scholarships range from $15,000 to $25,000 per year. Again, when a student applies for admission, they're automatically considered for scholarships. There's not a separate application. And we do have a 99% job placement rate. So yeah, we'll stick around to answer any questions. So feel free to stop by if there's anything else you'd like to know. So I'll pass it along to the next.
Hi there, Tisa again with Central Michigan University. So Central Michigan University, we are a large university with a small campus feel. So everybody's very warm and welcoming and friendly. We're kind of in a small to medium-sized community, so very safe as well. And we're located in Michigan. So if you've never been to Michigan, it's a beautiful part of the United States. And I'm sure every one of our schools will say, we're all from a very beautiful part of the US. So there's lots of great places to go visit and study. At CMU, our admissions process is pretty simple. So we try to keep it easy and simple for you. Just an application, transcripts, and then English proficiency test scores. So we don't require ACT or SAT. And we try to keep it, like I said, very simple. And when we send you your admission letter, you will also know which scholarship that you're going to be eligible to receive. And so there's no separate application process for that. You'll see on the screen, kind of on the left-hand side, you'll see our final amount, about $33,712 for a year. And that includes your tuition, your estimated living expense, student services fees, everything all together. On the right side, you'll see our scholarships, all academic scholarships. So again, we don't have any need-based scholarships, but the higher your grades, the more scholarship money that you'll be eligible to receive. Most popular scholarship for international students is our President's Award, which actually grants you our in-state tuition rate. So you won't pay the higher international rate, you'll pay the same as our domestic students. So CMU is a very affordable option if you're considering schools. We have over 200 different undergraduate and over 100 different graduate programs. So really a program for everybody. And if you really like it here and want to stay for your master's or your doctoral program, we'd love to have you. Thank you much.
Okay, so hello again, this is Helena. So State University of New York at Oswego, we call it SUNY Oswego. We are one of the 64 campuses in the SUNY system. And SUNY is the largest comprehensive university system in the United States. So right now, this semester, we have about 8,000 students from like 35 different countries. And 95% of our graduates are employed or in graduate school. And our average class size is 24. So we have 4 colleges and universities: College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, offering STEM programs, School of Business, School of Communication, Media and the Arts, School of Education. So popular majors among our international students are computer science, like software engineering, of course, business classes, and many more. So about our admission requirements, we do not require SAT or ACT as well. So it's they're optional. And we require like minimum GPA 2.5 and of course, English proficiency, like, you know, IELTS 6.0 or Duolingo 100. And we also offering like we have like our own intensive English program. So if you do not meet those English proficiency requirement, you can take our intensive English program first. So about the cost, our estimated cost per year for international students is about $36,500 per year. So it's included like, you know, tuition, living expenses, like books, insurance, everything included. However, we offering 2 types of scholarships. The first one is we call it the automatic scholarship, because as long as you are admitted, you'll be automatically receiving $9,000 per year scholarship. And the first one is only for freshmen. So it's like a merit scholarship. If you have really good like GPA or like SAT score, you will be eligible for up to $5,600 more scholarship. So our maximum scholarship is like $14,600 per year, and then it's renewable for 4 years. So most of our international students pay about like $27,000 per year, and some of them with the maximum scholarship, they pay about $22,000 per year. Okay, so I will pass it to Andrea.
Awesome. Hello again. This is Andrea with the University of Central Florida. We are located in sunny Orlando, Florida. You may have come to visit us in the past for Disney or Universal. We're just about 30-minute drive away. So it's a great place to live, study, work, and play. We have a lot to offer at UCF. We are a large public research university with over 70,000 students, a wide range of programs, over 230 at the bachelor's, master's, and doctoral level across 13 colleges. We do have a lot of exciting programs on offer. We're considered one of the most innovative universities in the United States with really unique programs in areas like hospitality management and video game design. We are considered one of the nation's best education values. We're very proud to offer an affordable education that is high quality. Similar to others on this call, we are at about $9,000 per semester international student tuition. As I mentioned earlier, there are some of those scholarship options, including the Latin American and Caribbean scholarship that would change your rate from the international student rate to the Florida resident rate. And those scholarships would be about $14,000 a year in savings. So it's a great opportunity to look into. We are considered a designated Hispanic serving institution by the U.S. Department of Education with over 25% Hispanic enrollment, but our campus is very diverse overall. About 50% of our undergraduate students are ethnic minorities in the United States, so you'll find UCF to be a very welcoming and inclusive environment for students from all cultural backgrounds. Here are some of our most popular programs in the bottom left. We were founded as part of the US Space Program. We've got a top-ranked program in hospitality management, a whole range of health sciences. But again, this is just a small selection of over 100 majors to choose from. And we do offer an intensive English program as well as a pathway program option. So if you haven't quite met your English proficiency requirement yet, you can even start some of your academic coursework and meet the proficiency requirement at the same time through our pathway programs. So I'll leave it at that. Feel free to join, jump over into our breakout session at the end of the call. So I'll pass it along. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Once again, my name is Tamara Trematera, and I am the Assistant Director of Admissions at SCAD, the Savannah College of Art and Design, located in Savannah, Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, Lacoste, France, and online. At SCAD, we offer over 100 degree programs with a focus in art and design, both at the bachelor's and master's level. SCAD is a private nonprofit accredited university with nationally and internationally recognized academic degree programs. We have about 15,000 students, and 25% of our students are international students representing over 100 different countries. All of our students at SCAD have the same cost of tuition, as we do not have different in-state or out-of-state tuition costs. Our international students actually qualify for academic scholarship, which is going to be based on your academics in high school. Our Achievement Scholarship Award, which is actually based on a portfolio and a resume. So those kind of fit into that merit scholarship portion that we talked about earlier in the presentation. In addition to that, we do offer an international student scholarship, and we also have athletics at SCAD, and students can be considered for athletic scholarship as well. We do offer the chance for work study on campus as well, and our students, when they come in for their freshman year, they are required to live on campus for the first year. After that, they're welcome to move off campus, or they can live on campus for the 4 years if they choose to. We always recommend that first year anyway for international students, because it's a great way for you to get to know our different locations. When students are accepted to SCAD, they're actually accepted to all of our locations, which means they can actually exchange in between them as they please. So if a student wants to start in Savannah, Georgia for their first year and then switch over to Atlanta, spend some time in our Lacoste, France campus, or go home for the summers and do online, they can do that as well. Now, a scholarship application is not separate from the admissions application. Actually, students are automatically reviewed during the application process for scholarships as well. If you're interested in learning more about SCAD and the application process, scholarship process, and all the fun stuff, please join our Zoom link after this presentation. And I will pass it on to University of Kentucky.
Hi, Landon. I don't think we can hear you.
Hello?
Now we.
Hello? Hello? Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know. Hi again, everyone. The University of Kentucky is a public research university located in Lexington, Kentucky. We offer more than 200 programs. So I usually tell international students, whatever you want to study, we probably have it at the University of Kentucky or something very similar. Our most popular programs with international students are our engineering programs and business programs. One of our newest programs that actually just starts this coming fall 2022 is our Aerospace engineering program. And this has already been a huge hit with international students. So I'm happy to announce we now have this Aerospace engineering program as well. We offer multiple scholarships to international students that can all be combined to cover up to 100% of tuition. It is very important to apply by the deadlines, or my personal advice would be to apply well before the deadlines if you want to be considered for those scholarships. These merit scholarships are both academic and non-academic. All of this information you can find on our website. We have a very diverse campus, a student population. Our international students come from literally every single region of the world. We have a lot of students from Brazil. We have a very active Brazilian Student Association on campus. As I mentioned earlier, we have an international student ambassador program, and we have many Brazilian ambassadors. All of their information can be found on the University of Kentucky International page. So if you would like to speak with our Brazilian ambassadors directly, I would highly recommend that. And even the American students at the University of Kentucky come from all over the United States. So it's a very diverse, multicultural campus, and I will be here via Zoom if you have any questions, and I hope to speak to you all later. Thank you so much.
Marina, I think you were going to facilitate some Q&A.
Okay, well, thank you so much for that presentation, everyone. It was very insightful and very comprehensive. We had a lot of questions. We had 98 questions that Simone and Davi have answered during the presentation. I think I picked out some of them. Of course, some of them are very specific, and we've already directed them to talk to you all afterwards. The most popular topic was about on-campus jobs. One question that appeared a couple of times was examples of on-campus jobs and if people can work 2 on-campus jobs at the same time. Anybody want to take that?
Go
ahead, Wade. Go ahead. It was your slide. Go ahead.
Go for this because I did that one. But by all means, feel free to supplement what I say. So again, the examples of on-campus jobs will vary greatly depending on where you attend. So I'll speak on behalf of Augustana, and I'll encourage other colleagues to share some examples on their campuses. But the international student ambassador was mentioned. So we pay students to share their Augustana experience with future Augustana students. So that is something that I would imagine you will see at any, all of the campuses represented here today. We have students that work in our recreational center, like our gym, that are referees for soccer or for volleyball, or many of the intramural sports that we offer on campus. Or maybe they're a supervisor in the weight room to make sure that students are using the facilities safely. Maybe they work on the computer help desk to help students troubleshoot tech-related troubles. So, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Working in the library, working in the business office, working in the, giving physical campus tours to students who are, who physically come and visit campus. So the list goes on and on and on. And in terms of, can you have more than one? Absolutely. Again, the regulation is on the number of hours worked. Again, during when school is in session, up to 20 hours per week. So, we have, again, speaking to Augustana, we have students that maybe work 2 jobs. Maybe they get 10 hours from one job and they get 10 hours from another. That's perfectly fine. And I'll encourage anybody else to.
Yeah, I was just going to give an example of a couple of our Brazilian students. I was actually just in Brazil last week speaking with groups of our admitted students and their families. And this was one of the main topics that we discussed while I was there, because we were talking about not only tuition and scholarships, but just day-to-day, month-to-month living expenses. And especially for international students, on-campus jobs can help with that a lot. At least I can speak from the University of Kentucky perspective. Most of our international students that work on campus are able to cover a significant portion of their living expenses from that on-campus job, working the full 20 hours per week. I will say something a little unique at the University of Kentucky is that we don't require international students to live on campus, even during that first year. And I'll be honest, it is significantly cheaper to live off campus. It's definitely the more economical option. But whether you live on campus or off campus, working on campus, a part-time student job can help you cover these costs. We also mentioned being a resident advisor, working in the dorms at the University of Kentucky. That will cover your expenses at the dorms. But one thing to think about, I'm sure this is the case at pretty much all US universities, is that in order to be eligible for that job, you must first live in the dorms, right? So you need to plan that as a freshman, you need to live on campus, right? So somewhere like the University of Kentucky, where it's optional to live on or off campus, if you want to have that opportunity at a later point in time to be an RA, a resident advisor or assistant, then you need to plan to live in the dorms that first year. Now, you could still get a different job on campus, but I just want to throw that out there. And we have multiple international students that are RAs and other international students that live off campus, but work on campus and can cover a lot of their month-to-month living expenses from that on-campus job.
Nice, thank you. We still have a lot of things regarding job related. One that's interesting that you don't see as much is students who work on campus. Do they need to pay taxes on their earnings? And if so, because they're international and they're not familiar with the tax system, usually teenagers aren't even familiar with the tax system here in Brazil, let alone in the US. So if they would have any kind of support in that part of their new life there.
Yes. So yeah, yes and yes. In most cases, yes, they will have to pay taxes, and in every case, they will definitely have support. We have an international student services team at the University of Kentucky. I'm positive that everyone here and most US universities that have international students have a team like this, and that's exactly what they do. They provide international students with support for things like paying taxes, right? So absolutely.
Awesome. So we're coming up on 3 minutes, and I think we're getting a lot of specific questions that are more related to the institutions. And so I think we can start wrapping up here. I just wanted to say thank you all for being here today. It was really lovely. Thank you for sparing your time to be with us. And I just wanted to say thank you aos estudantes que estão aqui até agora. Muito obrigada. A gente vai liberar agora o link para vocês falarem com os representantes, tá? Só vocês aguardarem um minutinho, e essa gravação da sessão vai estar no YouTube amanhã de manhã, tá bom? Just thank you, everyone. I'm going to stop recording, and I hope you all have an excellent rest of the week and productive conversations tonight.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
everyone.
Marina.
Thank you for hosting us.
Thank you.
Thank you.